From hanging with people around the mirror to flying jets through the skies. A game like VRChat can basically do it all. But even this is only a small percentage of what social VR gaming can truly bring to your living room. Just a glimpse of the vast increase of interactivity in gaming overall, and it is the perfect example of why VR in general can really change the way you interact with others. And I'm not going to lie, when I initially tried the game out for the first time, I did not return to it for a while because I just couldn't see the possibilities available to me. It wasn't until I met some of the most amazing people through VR that I got my eyes open to everything possible with such online social interaction. And what I learned from that point on kind of changed my life one way or another. But before I digress too much, let's start with the basics of a social VR game like VRChat. Yo! Say, you obviously know a lot about VRChat, don't you?
Yeah, I do.
What would you say to anyone who wants to get into VRChat but just does not know VRChat yet? You know, something to tell them what is up.
Well, VRChat has absolutely no limitations except for its terms of service. You can hang around in public worlds with your friends, which I usually do when I'm on VRChat, and if you just got into VRChat, then there are dedicated worlds to find new people and possible new friends. But you can also play games like Among Us VR or Battledust. I really recommend the second. There's even more than just these games and worlds that I've mentioned. Sometimes VRChat cooperates with other companies to host huge events like the Virtual Market or the Sanrio Virtual Festival, which also includes freaking Hello Kitty. It's not only VRChat that hosts events, but also communities inside of VRChat that put in a ton of work. Some of them do huge dancing lessons, others deep dive into roleplay, and it's really remarkable. Oh, and very important to mention is that VRChat also has quite an influence to the creator market, like for example on Booth.pm, where 3D artists can sell avatars and accessories that they made from scratch. Avatar creation in VRChat is also a very big thing. So many users have their own taste and create an avatar to their liking. That reminds me of something back when I used to hang out in front of a mirror with my buddies, and I had this thought of creating something for the community in VRChat, and I thought to myself, why not do that? So I went on and kept sitting in front of the mirror in hopes of getting more creative ideas and tried to focus on projects.
Now, if you want to know even more about VRChat, I would suggest checking Parzival's channel, because trust me, otherwise he would fill the entire video. But he did mention the creative side of VRChat. And this is a pretty good example of what makes games like these always so replayable. You can create your own worlds and avatars that you love to bring to life, and with enough practice, I am sure anyone can make their dream world or favorite character in this game. Hell, even I tried my hand at 3D modeling and avatar creation at some point, but there are very talented people out there making truly awesome work. It kind of made me realize that it isn't that weird anymore to see someone make a living through what could mainly be VRChat, almost having it change your life in a way. Which reminds me of what I just told you guys earlier, as you see, VRChat has all these different games, places, or avatars to be, but to me, it is also a lot more. For some people who play it a little more often than others, the game can almost start to turn into its own kind of lifestyle. And I too have been caught spending a long time, day in, day out, on VRChat. The game may come with all of these worlds, events, and possibilities, but the fact they are in VR kind of changes the way you handle these seemingly common aspects of a social game. It isn't just speaking through a microphone or typing in a world of static people anymore. It is communicating on another level with others that used to seem like something that could only be done in real life. For instance, when I talk, I move my hands a lot, and I love to emote while I make a point. This can actually transfer to a VR gaming environment, and suddenly I could show people my disappointment through dropping my posture, or my excitement through physically jumping up, all while in a virtual world. And this kind of interaction becomes really valuable when you make new friends or try to sustain a long-distance relationship during the travel-free corona times. Because I cannot thank VR social gaming enough for giving a super impatient guy like me still the ability to talk to and love the person on the other side of the world, while feeling like I'm actually right beside them. Creating and maintaining a relationship through a game is nothing new, but the VR aspect of it made sure that between those times when we were just talking through a Discord call, we could also feel like we were in the exact same room playing games surrounded by the best of people. Though this all may not be physical contact, it still allows for the feeling of socializing on a level that feels very close to getting together in real life. And then add the fact you can play games together that wouldn't even be physically possible in real life, and you got yourself a social interaction basically like no other. What I'm trying to really say with all of this is that I would like to point out that social VR gaming, or in this case VRChat, is something more than it seems to most people who haven't had their toes dipped into it yet. It isn't something like just the metaverse.
Meta.
Or a way of just having a long-distance conference call. It is, and can be, so much more. Not only is it a place to relax and meet people, but also a library of creativity in which you can enjoy others' creations and express yourself in the ways that you want. And there are so many awesome communities that keep on growing, allowing anyone to find where they fit in. And even though this type of modern socializing can come with a lot of issues like anything else, it still is an awesome way of hanging out.